Welcome to RotoBaller Game Day.
Here we go, RotoBallers. We are headed into week 10, and boy, it's hot. Not the weather outside because it's pretty chilly here, but fantasy lineups are hot. Advice is hot. We've got a whole lot going on. Playoffs are coming up soon. The season is quickly winding down, which is crazy because it feels like we just started this yesterday. But welcome to RotoBaller Game Day Live for Week 10. I'm Kyle Richardson, Senior Fantasy Analyst at RotoBaller.com. And the man on the other side of me, again, I can't remember which way, that way? Anyway, yeah. Jake Hubman, RotoBaller expert. Jake, what's up, my man?
Yeah, you're right about it being a little bit chilly. It went from straight summer to straight winter here in North Carolina. We had like zero fall, so it's a little chilly outside here also.
We had fall. We had a little bit of snow, actually, the last couple of days on Friday.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, I wasn't super happy when I woke up and saw it. Maybe a little bit on Thursday, too. I can't remember. It's all a blur now.
Yeah, well.
But that's what happens up here a little bit north of you.
Yeah, it's a little bit too far north. I don't want to deal with snow quite yet.
Oh, man. But like I said, though, the weather outside isn't great right now. But we are in here dropping fire this week as we answer some of your start-sit questions. As always, we'll be doing that. And Jake will let it flow, of course, the best segment really anywhere
probably
for fantasy sports.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not one to brag or anything, but it probably is.
That will be happening today. We're going to talk about some of these actives and inactives as they start to roll in. Right before we went live, we started to get a lot of confirmations on people who will be in and out. We'll break down some of those things. We'll go a little bit deeper into some of the other news, not only for this week, but possibly even moving forward for the rest of the season. We might talk a little trade action today, too. If your trade deadline has not passed yet, might need to make some moves. So if you've got trade questions, feel free to drop those in as well, and we'll try to maybe grab a few of those as we go through the next hour. We got started a little bit early today because we have a jam-packed show. So let's start jumping into this right now. Make sure you head over to rotoballer.com for all of your fantasy football needs. Make sure you're following myself and Jake on Twitter. If you scroll down, you can hit those Twitter links that Jake has so humbly provided down below for you to skip on over there and follow us and then get right back. Make sure you like the video because we don't let it flow unless we feel like we have enough likes. So you got to hit the like button as soon as possible. And one person out there has already decided to hit dislike, so we need to cancel that out. And if you're still out there, how dare you, sir or madam? Someone wants to know if they should trade Doug Martin and Dez for Sony. Yes, yeah. Do that.
I would recommend that, yes.
So we'll start hopping into some of this right now. Oh, also subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Closing in on 9,000 subscribers here, so we want to hit that number here shortly. But jumping over real quick, let's talk about some of these actives and inactives. We've got 3 quarterbacks that are out this week that we heard some news about heading into this week. And Sam Darnold, he is going to be officially out now. Josh McCown will get that start. Josh Allen, believe it or not, was actually questionable all week long. He is now out. Matt Barkley is going to get the start. And we have another week of Brock Osweiler as Ryan Tannehill will be out again this week. Expected to possibly be back soon, though. Let's head over to running back now. A guy that was questionable all week that I personally didn't want to have in my lineup regardless. Kerryon Johnson will be playing today. Chris Carson is questionable, but last I saw, he is not expected to play. So if you got Mike Davis, you might want to think about firing him up. Sony Michel is going to be active today. I don't know how much we want to trust him, though. Gio Bernard is going to be active. Is he gonna cut into Joe Mixon's workload? I personally don't think so. Jake might think differently, though. Maybe we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Chris Ivory is going to be out, so LaShawn McCoy is going to be the main back there in Buffalo. Darren Sproles thought he was going to get back this week, re-aggravated that hamstring injury. He's now out. Chris Thompson is out. Jake's favorite player, Ronald Jones, is out. Leonard Fournette is going to be back. He makes his triumphant return this week for fantasy owners who spent a first-round draft pick on him. For wide receiver, Sammy Watkins, who I listed as a sit in our wide receiver video this week, he is officially out.
So he listened to your advice and he sat himself.
Yes.
Perfect.
So Sammy Watkins must be a fan of the show and said, you know what, Kyle said sit me, so I'm going to go ahead and sit myself. Randall Cobb is a game-time decision today. He's questionable. I don't think that really matters, though, because our boy MVS is the new wide receiver, too, there in Green Bay. Robbie Anderson is doubtful. Pierre Garçon is out. Jamison Crowder is out. Maurice Harris or Josh Doxson, who are we going to be picking there? I know who I already picked this week. Ryan Grant is questionable. Jakeem Grant is even questionable as well. So 2 Grants that are questionable this week. And then AJ Green and Josh Malone both out. So who are we going to be looking towards? Tyler Boyd, obviously the wide receiver 1 there. Does John Ross have any value this week? David Njoku is questionable but expected to play. Rob Gronkowski looks like he is going to be out again. He is questionable, but all signs point to him sitting this week. Jeff Swaim is questionable as well. So it doesn't feel like we've had nearly as much injury news to talk about this week as we have in the past, but still a few names we need to keep our eyes on and a few names that could give other people potential this week.
Yeah, I mean, there's still going to be a lot of injuries that are always out there, but I think the ones that we've seen this week are just ones that we've kind of expected a little bit more. Maybe a few that we've been keeping our eye on. I know Gronk's kind of been one of those guys that's just been irritating. I mean, personally, I think the only reason Gronk's played when he's played is because of all the incentives in his contract. He's trying to hit those incentives, and I think he was kind of forcing the hand a little bit, but I think they've kind of, put the kibosh on that and said, yeah, no, you're going to sit a few weeks and try to get healthy.
Jake, you have any weather news out there? Because Kirk Alexander Perez is asking about weather, and you were the unofficial weather guy.
I am the unofficial weather guy, and if I had a map, I would show you. However,
awesome.
Yeah, I know. Maybe one day, Kyle. One day when we get really big, I will have a pop-up weather map that I can point to games with. It'll be awesome, but that's in the future. As of right now, no. Last I checked the weather report this morning about 10:30, 11 o'clock this morning here Eastern time. There's no major weather updates that are going to cause effects in any games that are coming up. Nothing to the point of where I'd want to not play my fantasy players.
Yeah, not a whole lot of that today. So again, Jake is our unofficial weatherman of the RotoBaller Game Day live show. So thanks for doing that. Let's get in depth on a couple of things here real quick. So the big news this week was the Dez Bryant signing. Then the big news this week was the Dez Bryant injury. So from 100 to 0, actually from 0 to 100 to 0, we go with this Dez Bryant news. So everybody seemed to be hopping off Traquan Smith, which I didn't blame them, but Traquan Smith was the guy I thought maybe would move into the slot, still have some value. But now Dez Bryant, he's gone. Cameron Meredith, he's gone. So does Traquan Smith regain any of that value we thought he lost? Is he still a guy that we hold on to? I know he hasn't done anything big, but the potential is there, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, let's be realistic. If you have him, he's probably your, number 5 wide receiver on your roster. And why not have the now number 2 wide receiver for the New Orleans Saints just sitting down there on your roster? I don't give up hope on him. Yes, he hasn't had anything since that big game a few weeks ago, but like you said, the potential is there. Now there's no Cam Meredith. It's definitely something where if you did hop off the bandwagon, you may want to quickly run and catch up to it and hop back on it because you have really nothing to lose if you're just storing him on the bottom of your bench anyway. He's just a high upside stash. You never know. If he could take off here at the end of the season, I think somebody have some real value the last few weeks.
Anton just woke up to catch the show. He needs some coffee. Anton, thanks for catching the show. Jake's got some coffee over there as well. So he also woke up a little bit ago after a night of working. So Jake is truly a man of many talents.
That's debatable, but I'm a man of very little sleep. That is a positive.
Well, back to Traquan Smith real quick. I just want to throw out there, the best way to not lose your seat on the bandwagon is to just never jump off. So with Traquan Smith, I think the potential is always there. We discussed this a couple of weeks ago. I got a lot of comments regarding him being in my wide receiver waiver wire article because no one thought that he was the guy that should be owned. But my response and my argument for Traquan Smith was always, you're not going to find guys with the type of ceiling that he has on waivers this time of the year. He might have a really low floor because you're going to be working Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram, Michael Thomas, obviously wide receiver number 1. But the potential is there every single game in that offense and with Drew Brees to have a really big performance. So that is why my argument was we need to try and stick with him. Even with Dez Bryant, let's see how things go. But that doesn't matter anymore. So I think he's a guy that we definitely still need to have stashed right now. And more than likely, he'll be included in my waiver wire article that comes out tomorrow morning. So let's jump from the Dez Bryant fallout. What do we need to be doing with Rob Gronkowski, Jake? Because I don't know about you, but I own him in 2 leagues, and I'm frustrated with him. I'm tired of owning him.
Yeah, I have him in 1 league also that doesn't allow trades, so I'm definitely not going to drop him because that's the only other option I have. But right now I am doing whatever I possibly can to try to trade him for whatever name value he still has. I mean, at this point, there's no guarantee. Every single week you're going to be playing the whole, is he going to play, is he not going to play game? You can still probably get something for him. There's not a whole lot of great tight ends out there anyway. If you can go and trade him for somebody who's maybe, giving up their tight end who is serviceable. He may not be, top 3, but everybody's kind of playing a serviceable tight end at this point, with the exception of George Kittle, Zach Ertz, Travis Kelce. I mean, outside of that, is there anybody that really stands out head and shoulders every single week? Probably not. So, yeah, I would definitely be trying to trade him right now, at least getting offers. I'm not going to give him away for nothing, but if you can get something in return that you need on your roster, then I'm definitely looking for it.
Yeah, so and the question just came up from Chuck Wallaby. He's wanting to know trade options for Gronk. So let's talk a little trade here real quick. So with Rob Gronkowski, you're probably not going to get a ton for him, to be honest with you. Really, the only person you're probably going to be able to trade Rob Gronkowski to is maybe like the 1, 2, or 3 team in the league, maybe a team that has already scored a lot of points, has a great record, really is safe when it comes to the playoff picture. And they say, you know what? I got a little bit of depth on my team. I can afford to move them. Hopefully get Rob Gronkowski back healthy at some point this season. Someone may be able to take a risk like that. There's always a potential that maybe somebody out there has Jack Doyle as a tight end too on their team. Maybe you can trade Rob Gronkowski for Jack Doyle and a smaller piece to go with it. Maybe a wide receiver 2 or 3 or someone to help out. If you, for some reason, have a decent backup tight end, then maybe you can trade Rob Gronkowski for like a wide receiver 3 and maybe like a PPR type satellite back. Maybe a guy like Chris Thompson who has been hurt and is in the same situation as Rob Gronkowski. But if you can afford to lose Gronk because you have someone else to fill in, and, that could give you a little bit of depth at running back, because I'd rather have depth at running back than tight end. Those are a couple of different situations that you might want to look for over the next week or two, depending on when your trade deadline is.
Yeah, and like you said, I'm not so much looking for the wide receiver depth. There's a lot of depth probably on waivers in most leagues that if you needed somebody, there's somebody serviceable out there. Running back is what I'm really trying to get, because at this point, like I said, I'd rather almost roll every single week. You're probably going to have to end up picking like a CJ Uzurmama or a Chris Herndon, something like that. Maybe Jeff Heuerman's available. I mean, that's not going to help you this week, but maybe next week going forward, he's somebody who had a big week for the Broncos before the bye. I mean, you can find a tight end out there. You can stream them weekly if you need to. It's not ideal, but at least get yourself something for Gronk while you can.
Yeah, Chris Herndon is another good name to bring up, so I'm glad you did that. So Rob Gronkowski, he's gone. Let's get that out of the way here now. Speaking Week 10 specifically, I know on our wide receiver video that we talked about the Bears wide receivers a little bit, but Darius Slay, the cornerback 1 in Detroit, is now out this week. The secondary hasn't played great as of late. What are we doing with the Bears wide receivers? Allen Robinson is active. Anthony Miller is active. Taylor Gabriel is active. They have a full, healthy team. Is it going to be ground and pound today? Are the Bears going to chew up the Lions defense on the ground, or are they going to be getting them through the air? Because even as a Lions fan, I don't see them winning this game today.
Yeah, and I can see a lot more going through the air than on the ground. But I don't know. I still do not trust Allen Robinson in this offense. I didn't trust him when he was healthy. I mean, even though he's coming back this week, from missing a couple games, I don't necessarily look forward to starting him or want to start him. I think maybe Anthony Miller maybe gets a slight bump. I just don't see Allen Robinson fitting this offense. I think they got Allen Robinson and they wanted that down the field big play threat. Can go up and get the 50-50 ball and try to make plays down the field for Mitch. But Mitch isn't that type of quarterback. He's more of a short to intermediate route. Get the ball in the hands of his playmakers, let them make something happen and get yards after the catch. Allen Robinson just doesn't quite fit that scheme as much as some of these other guys they have. I would much rather have Anthony Miller or Taylor Gabriel at this point.
Yeah, I think I'd rather go Anthony Miller this week. Again, you and I are on the same page when it comes to Allen Robinson. We haven't been fans. We weren't fans this offseason, and we haven't been fans this season either. Maybe next year. When he's, a year back, when he's not removed from ACL injury right away, when he has a chance to work with Trubisky a little bit more, when the offense clicks a little bit better, because it's still kind of up and down. We get really big weeks, or we get a week like last week where they score a lot of points, but seem to still be inconsistent at best. So we'll see how that plays out next year. But yeah, he's not a guy I'm interested in. Anthony Miller, I'd be interested in today, for sure, but I feel like this is going to be a bad game for the Lions, a good game for the Bears. If you have Trubisky, I gave him a little bit of a bump in my quarterback rankings this week after having him a little bit lower, finding out Darius Slay will be out today. Let's look ahead just a little bit. So before we start jumping in here and taking some start sit questions, number one, we've got 95 likes. We're going to be letting it flow here around the 12:30 time frame. So keep liking. I think last week we needed 250 likes.
I think it was 250. Yeah,
250. At least 250 likes to let it flow. Only at 95 right now. So, someone decided to dislike the video. I think they took away their like and did dislike. That's okay. So, like the video, get that up there. We're going to let it flow here in a little bit. We're going to answer some questions. There's one more thing I want to talk about before we get into that, though. So, looking forward, Joe Flacco has this hip injury. A lot of people are excited about Lamar Jackson. Jake, are you running to the waiver wire and grabbing Lamar Jackson?
Not only no, but heck no, Kyle. I'm really not. I've seen it all over social media. I've seen some of the top names in the industry go out and say, hey, got to grab him now. I don't see that. I understand he has huge rushing upside. He's got a few weapons to throw it to, but more than likely, quarterback is such a deep position that you already have a solid starting quarterback. I highly doubt there's very many teams out there that are really, really struggling to find somebody to start on a weekly basis. Why would you take away somebody who you feel more comfortable with, who's played quarterback all year, to put in a guy who, yes, has talent, but I see more of Lamar Jackson as being, an option next season. Not so much this season. I don't want to play a quarterback just for his rushing upside alone. To me, I understand it, and maybe if you're in like a super deep league, or obviously you're in a 2 QB league, super flex league, obviously he's an option, but outside of that, normal redraft 10, 12-team leagues, I don't really see the purpose in it as of right now.
Yeah, you and I both had a chance to visit the combine. We were both there for quarterbacks and wide receivers. And outside of Antonio Callaway, the other person I was most excited to see was Lamar Jackson. And he didn't look bad. And people were super excited, especially after he was drafted by the Ravens. But all offseason long, I cautioned everybody, don't go crazy right now, because Joe Flacco is going to play this season. People were talking about him being cut or benched. That wasn't going to happen, not with the contract he has. Now, if he truly isn't healthy and we are going to have issues here with his hip moving forward, I don't know what the long-term prognosis is. Ethan Turner over on Twitter, he's a guy that's really good with those injury type things. I'll check in with him later today. Whatever the long-term prognosis is, I'm not on Lamar Jackson for this season. Even if he were to say we're playing him the rest of the year, I think at that point we give like Alex Collins and Ty Montgomery a boost, and we bring down those wide receivers. I don't think we can bring down #never Crabtree anymore.
No.
But we'll bring down some of the other guys, and I think that offense struggles to find a little bit more of an identity. But some run pass options with Lamar Jackson, that could be fun to watch with Alex Collins in the backfield. So
yeah, I think if anything, the biggest bump is Alex Collins, in my opinion. If that happens, if they go to Lamar Jackson, I can see a lot more potential upside for Alex Collins going forward. A lot more heavier run-focused offense than we've seen maybe earlier in the season. And their schedule is absolutely amazing. They got one of the best end-of-season schedules out there.
Yep. Yeah, and maybe we see that return on Alex Collins that has avoided us all season.
It's coming. I can feel it.
Ooh, you can feel it.
I can
deep
feel
inside.
It. Deep down. That's awkward. Yes. Moving on.
We like to make things awkward around here.
Right.
All right, let's answer some start-sit questions. Jake, what do you think?
Yeah, let's get into it. They've been pretty patient. I haven't seen anybody getting too mad in there, so we gave them 15 minutes worth of news. Let's get into some questions.
But we're still just under 100 likes away from letting it flow. So you got to hit that like button. If you're watching right now, let it like. We'll let it flow in a few minutes.
Let it like. I like that also, Kyle.
Get it, hit like. Let it
like. All right, let's get into a few here. How about a quarterback? We'll start it off with, I hope I don't mispronounce your name, Tajai Romano, Russell Wilson, or Fitzmagic?
Ooh, hitting us with the tough ones right away. I do have Fitzmagic at number 6 this week, so I'm going to go with him.
I think, this is my opinion, I think Russell may be slightly safer. However, the big game, the big plays, the possible big numbers, I would be gambling and going on Fitzmagic myself. Plus, that picture came out on social media this week. He had the big, huge beard with the rainbow sunglasses. It was amazing. That alone is worth starting him. I mean, that's epic. That's going to be so many memes.
The ceiling with Fitzmagic is up in this area above my head, which you can't see.
How about MVS or T.Y. Hilton from Trey World?
Well, we know AJ Bowie's going to be out. Bowie. My bad. However you pronounce it. Sorry about
Just
that.
call him AJ.
He's going to be out for Jacksonville. You still have Jalen Ramsey. So if you can possibly move Hilton around and get him away from Ramsey a little bit, I think you have to still lean Hilton a little bit because he's the wide receiver 1. MVS is your big play guy, but he's your wide receiver 2 in Green Bay. So I'm leaning Hilton slightly, just by a smidge.
I mean, I'm not really on the T.Y. Hilton bandwagon. I actually had him as a sit in one of our shows, and it didn't go over as bad as I thought. A few people thought I was absolutely crazy, but it's a risk, and it really depends on the rest of your starting lineup. If you have a bunch of guys in your lineup with great matchups, then you're okay to take a risk every once in a while with like a T.Y. Hilton against Jacksonville, possibly being shadowed by Jalen Ramsey. That's a risk you take. Now, if your whole lineup is full of risk, do you really want to add another guy full of risk when you have another option that I mean, I'm expecting a very good day from MVS. If you don't have that room for that risk, then I'm fine going the safer route with MVS, but it really depends on your roster that you have.
Yeah, Jacksonville, best in the league in terms of allowing fantasy points to wide receivers, 17.38 points per game. Miami's not too bad, though. They're at 22.24. So Miami's pass defense is still pretty good at this point. And again, when I said I had them just a smidge apart, I wasn't lying because I have Hilton at wide receiver 20 and I have Marquez Valdez-Scantling at 23. So they are just right next to each other.
Yeah, absolutely. What about Sony or Nick Chubb from Sam Miller?
Chubb.
Yeah, 100% Chubb. Agree.
100%.
He threw us a lot of popcorn, which I am a fan of. I mean, popcorn sounds pretty good right now. But yeah, definitely Nick Chubb. The whole thing with Sony Michel is I love Sony Michel as the running back in the situation that he's in, but I don't want to risk it this week. I mean, there's no purpose. I don't see them coming out and just giving him the ball 25 times this week. I still think James White is highly involved in that passing attack and in that offense. Yeah, Sony's going to have to rest a week this week on my bench and not have to go out there and risk it, especially with Nick Chubb having such a great matchup, and he's been averaging over 20 carries a game. Definitely Chubb for me.
I listed Sony Michel as a sit on our running back video because a lot of things are at play here this week. Number one, obviously, is he going to come back and be 100% healthy right away? Is he going to come back and get the workload right away? But something that's not widely known is that the Titans still have a very good run defense. The Titans are 4th in allowing points to opposing running backs, only 13.33 points to opposing running backs this year. So if you have Sony Michel, let's just answer this blanket question. If you have Sony Michel and you have a wide receiver, running back 2 caliber player, I'm starting him over Sony Michel. I want Michel on my bench this week.
Yep, 100% agree. To me, it's not worth the risk. What about in a half-point PPR league? Sean Anderson is asking Christian Kirk or Kenny Galladay.
Ooh, let me double check real quick here.
That's another tough one.
What do you think?
I mean, I think Kenny Galladay has the higher touchdown upside. I think he has the higher ceiling of the two of them. Kirk may be the slightly safer play as somebody who's going to see, 7 to 10 targets in that Arizona offense. I still think Larry Fitzgerald and David Johnson are the top options. Not being able to run in Detroit is going to be an issue, forcing them to throw more. Marvin Jones, Kenny Galladay. I mean, Matthew Stafford likes to throw it. I would personally go Galladay just for the potential upside, but it is pretty close.
Yeah, I'm going to go Kenny Galladay as well against a Bears secondary that has been burnt a little bit this year, that is giving up points to wide receivers. Christian Kirk, I like him. We've talked about him a lot on this show. I have David Johnson. I had him listed as a must start this week, and I have him as a top 5 running back in PPR leagues this week, because what I feel like is going to happen with that game is that the Cardinals are really going to try to keep Patrick Mahomes off the field as much as possible. They do that by using David Johnson as much as possible, limiting Christian Kirk's upside a little bit. So with Kenny Galladay, because Jake just said it, with the touchdown upside, I have to go him. I have Kenny Galladay at wide receiver 25 and Kirk at wide receiver 31. So it still is close, but Galladay's my guy.
Yep, I hear you. What about Traquan Smith or Doug Baldwin?
Doug Baldwin.
And I know a lot of people are burnt by Doug Baldwin.
Yeah.
Thinking they were expecting so much more, and I'm one of them. Had the guy been able to stay healthy, it may have been a different story, but we'll never know that. But I'm not giving up on Doug Baldwin yet. Yes, I know news came out earlier in the week that he was dealing with a groin injury, but he was fully cleared by the weekend on Friday. I don't see that really limiting him as much. I can't give up on Doug Baldwin yet. He's who I would pick there also.
Yeah, I got to go Doug Baldwin still.
What about Jarvis Landry or Larry Fitzgerald for Matt Ortiz?
It's so hard for me to sit Jarvis Landry. I still like him a lot. He's the wide receiver one in an offense that continues, I think, to get a little bit better each week. Decent matchup against Atlanta. Good matchup against Atlanta this week. I'm going Jarvis Landry.
Yeah, I hear you. And then Joe Camel wants to know why we're benching Kerryon Johnson.
I don't like the matchup. The Bears are way too good. Theo Riddick is back, taking away Kerryon Johnson's workload in the passing game. They continue to use, for whatever reason, LeGarrette Blount. He doesn't have enough upside and has a horrible matchup this week. So I don't want Kerryon Johnson in my lineup either.
Yeah, between that and his minor injuries that he's been dealing with here throughout the week, with I believe it's an ankle injury, it's just limiting his upside. Supa Kiki, I see you out there. He wants to know if we should start Christian Kirk. That's right. Start Christian Kirk over Randall Cobb, or does he start Josh Adams in his flex? Josh Adams is super bold. I don't know if I'd be ready to go Josh Adams quite yet, but I would go Christian Kirk over Randall Cobb.
Yeah, 100% Christian Kirk over Randall Cobb for sure there. And then you said Josh Adams, right, against Dallas. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going with Kirk on that one still over Josh Adams. I think the thought process with Josh Adams is okay, but Dallas still has a pretty decent run defense. They're not all that bad. They're about middle of the pack, I believe. Yeah, about middle of the pack when it comes to giving up points to opposing running back, 16.80. I know in most situations I want to try and fit a running back into my flex spot because of the volume upside, but in this case, because of the matchups and the way things lay out, I'll go Christian Kirk.
Yep, I hear you. Skeptic MC says he's got some rich kid problems going on. He's got Julian Edelman, Keenan Allen, Cooper Kupp, Brandon Cooks, and Tevin Coleman, and he can only pick two of them.
All right, so I heard Julian Edelman's name.
Yep, and you also heard Keenan Allen's name.
Keenan Allen's a must-play, absolutely, 100%. Allen's in your lineup.
And Cooper Kupp.
So do we go Cooper Kupp or do we go Julian Edelman? Is this PPR or standard?
It doesn't say, but
if it's standard, I'm going Kupp for sure because of touchdown upside. But if it's PPR, I think I lean Edelman a little bit.
And then you sit Brandon Cooks.
That's hashtag first world problems right there.
Yeah, that is. I mean, personally, I go Edelman and Allen only because with Gronk being out, I think Edelman sees added targets. But I mean, I'm not happy about sitting any of them.
Yeah, that's definitely a tough one for sure.
Yeah, that's definite hashtag rich kid problems.
Samuel wants to know Marvin Jones or MVS and PPR. I got to go Marvin Jones.
Yep, Marvin Jones. This last week was not the greatest of matchups for Marvin Jones, but going forward, I like his potential upside here rest of season. What about Mark Ingram? Let's talk about Mark Ingram for a second. There's a question out here for Semimer, and he wants.
How I feel.
I know how you feel, but his question is Mark Ingram or Mike Davis in a PPR league. Is Mark Ingram that far down your list now?
Who?
I mean, I know Mike Davis more than likely will get the full workload because it doesn't sound like Chris Carson's going to play, but. I mean, that upside is still there for Mark Ingram. His usage is still there. He's had a couple tough weeks, some tough matchups. This one isn't quite as bad as what he's had to deal with here the past few weeks.
I'm going to go Mark Ingram. I don't like the matchup against a really solid front line of the Los Angeles Rams. I feel like that's a game that Russell Wilson's going to be forced to pass. And Mike Davis, I'm not. I know he's had a decent couple of games, but yeah, I got to roll with Mark Ingram.
All right, well, good. Then we agree. I'm going Mark Ingram there also.
Someone just said Carson is out. I haven't seen that he's out yet. I have seen that he's not expected to play.
Yeah, exactly.
Go ahead and update the notes still, though.
Yeah. What about trying to get some different names in here? Adrian Peterson or Jordan Howard?
Adrian Peterson.
Really?
Yep.
Why?
He might show up later in Kyle's Crushers.
Oh my goodness, but he has no offensive line. He's going to get crushed in Kyle's Crushers.
Right now, the expert consensus ranking has him as the running back 20 in standard or in PPR leagues, excuse me. Tampa Bay, though, has allowed the sixth. Tampa Bay allows points to every position, but they've allowed the sixth most points to running back. So I'm going with Adrian Peterson. I think he has a bounce back performance. I mean, this is a guy that I wrote about in my touch analysis for running backs that dropped yesterday on RotoBaller, and he's a guy that I'm going to have to get up some of this information here real quick because we'll come back to it. Get another question. We're going to come back to Adrian Peterson in a minute because I got to grab some of this info real quick.
All right, cool. All right, well, I see you out there, Mystical Child. He's saying hey to us. Good to see you back in the live chat.
What's up, man?
Let's see. What about Josh Gordon? I mean, there's a question here of Peace Top wants about Josh Gordon or Adrian Peterson, but to me, I think Josh Gordon almost gets to that level of being somebody you must start now that Gronk's being ruled out.
Oh, yeah. Josh Gordon could be in for a huge week.
Yeah, I love Josh Gordon now, especially with that happening. This guy says Jake's the man, but Kyle's pretty cool too, so that's nice.
Appreciate it.
You got big shoes to fill. I'm a big guy. What about Tevin Coleman or Nick Chubb? That one's getting a little bit closer.
Still going to go Nick Chubb.
Yeah, definitely give me the Chubb on that one. I mean, Nick Chubb. You know what I mean.
Okay, so real quick, I want to jump back to Adrian Peterson real quick. So only twice this season has Adrian Peterson averaged under 4 yards per carry. And I know he's coming off a bad performance last week, but Chris Thompson will be out again. You have Capri Bibbs, who we look at and say, potential PPR option. But in some of these games, he's had some decent workload in terms of catching the ball. But Adrian Peterson is still running the football as much as they can possibly give it to him. I don't like his matchups the rest of the year, though. So if you own Adrian Peterson, I use him this week 100%, and then I immediately try to trade him.
That's a decent game plan there. I'm worried with those injuries to the offensive line that the second he touches the ball, the defense is going to be able to key on the run because there's not a whole lot of passing weapons to worry about. He worries me.
If you don't like Adrian Peterson this week, he has the Eagles, Jaguars, and Titans coming up in the next several weeks, who are all in the top 10 of least amount of points given up to fantasy running backs. So get out there, put him in your lineup this week, trade him right afterwards.
And hopefully you can get a pack of chewed bubblegum for him.
I think you could convince someone in your league to take him off for a decent price.
Kyle over there pretty much just said, go to your village idiot and try to trade him. That's exactly what you just said in layman's terms.
Not what I said. We're closing in on 12:30 though, so we are going to need to let it flow here soon. But the only problem is we only have 214 likes. So if you want Jake to let it flow and get through as many of your start-sit questions as possible, we need 250 likes. That is the limit that we set it at. So hit that like button. If you are watching and you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do that as well. Let's get this video to the top. Let's get some more people in here watching this week, and we will let it flow here in just a minute. Dante McCandlesbury,
no, don't say
I
it.
see you out there.
I see you also, Dante, but I'm choosing to ignore you because of that.
Brandon, what's up?
I'll put you in timeout.
Not much, Brandon.
What about
where'd he go?
Let it mother freaking flow. Way to keep it G-rated there, Soup. I appreciate it. Listen, what about Mike Davis or Aaron Jones? How do you feel about Aaron Jones?
Aaron Jones.
I think I go Aaron Jones also. And just to give them a minute to hit that like button, can we just talk about one quick second the whole Le'Veon Bell saga?
Or do we not? There's much to talk about.
I mean, I just kind of want to give you. I don't know if it'll work or not, but I kind of just want to give you like a virtual high five. Can it work?
Oh wait, we're facing the wrong. Which
way?
You
gotta go that. There you go, virtual high five. Because I put something on Twitter yesterday. There's a few things I've missed on in the preseason, but if there's one thing that I'm happy about, it's to telling people to avoid Le'Veon Bell. And everybody thought I was absolutely crazy, so I'd just like to throw it out there that I'm not absolutely crazy. It doesn't sound like Bell's coming back all year. That has been a complete train wreck of a season for anybody who owned him and drafted him. But sorry, sounds like it's over. Yeah,
I thought for sure he was going to show up this year. I cannot believe what he has done this year. I mean, now I think he can be tagged again next year for like 20-something million. Yeah. But if I'm the Steelers, I just move on and be done with it. You got James Conner, use him.
And this may come out sounding wrong because I'm not like a wordsmith or anything, but I'm going to try to articulate it the best way that I can. I actually have more respect for him now not coming back completely than had he come back week 9, 10 or whatever and just played. Because at least he stuck to what he believed in. Not that I agree with anything, but at least he stuck with it and didn't just come back and accomplish nothing. So,
yeah, I told everybody at the start of the season, look, I've got respect for him. Okay, I'm not going to get upset because he didn't show up. He's got to worry about himself. He only has a small window of time. He's been used a lot already. He needs to get his money. He needs to get paid. He's got to do what's best for him and his family, and that's 100% fine with me. I just thought at some point this year that he would still show up. And he lost a lot of money this year too, so hopefully it works out for him next season. But I think this whole episode this year may have hurt him in terms of getting a contract for next year. But we are at 250 likes now, 271 to be in fact. There it is. There is the helmet. It is coming on, and we're gonna let it flow. Jake, how long do we want to let it flow for today?
What is this, week 10? Let's
10 minutes?
No. No. Let's go for, how about 3 straight minutes of Let It Flow?
3 minutes. Let me get this timer ready here for 3 minutes. Okay. Timer is set. Jake is getting himself strapped in.
That sounds bad, Kyle.
Jeez Louise.
All right.
What am I going to do with you?
There's not a whole lot you can do with me.
Off season, I tell you.
I'm going to be doing this in the off season too. I'm going to be talking about movies or something, I guess. I don't know.
I'll probably do some baseball stuff in the off season. We'll see. Anyway, keep those questions flowing. If you've already put them in there and we haven't answered it yet, keep throwing them in there. Let's get this thing moving fast. It's more fun to watch Jake answer these questions when the chat's going faster than he can answer. All right, here it is. Let's get ready to let it flow.
Hang on,
285 likes. We have 548 people watching. Share this with your friends. Get them in here too. You ready, Jake?
Yes.
The sign is on. The helmet is on. We're going to let it flow. 3, 2, 1. Here we go.
Tacos or meatloaf? I'm definitely a meat guy, but give me the tacos. Luck or Mayfield? Going with Mayfield for sure. Mack or Edelman? 100% give me Edelman. Fournette or AP? I don't really want to start Fournette, but I really don't like AP. Give me Fournette. Doxson or Galladay? Going Galladay. Chubb or Aaron Jones or Mike Davis? Going with Nick Chubb. T.Y. Hilton or Traquan Smith? I'm still sticking with T.Y. there. Fitzgerald or Deshaun Jackson? Give me Fitz. Njoku or Doyle? Give me Njoku. Reed or Cook? Give me Reed. Humphreys or Godwin? Give me Humphreys. Alshon or I think it was MVS. It went by so fast. Give me MVS. Trubisky or Dalton? Give me Mitch Magic. The hashtag. Wow, this is going crazy fast. Eckler or Cohen? I'm going Cohen. MVS or T.Y. Hilton or Marvin Jones or Edelman? That's a lot of ors. And if you need 2 of them, I'm going with MVS, and I forgot who the other ones were. They're going so fast. Gordon or Hill? Definitely going. I like both, but give me Hill. You can't sit him. Kamara, Michelle, Ingram. Say goodbye to Michelle for the week. Go with Ingram and Kamara. Luck or Wilson? I'm going Wilson. Mixon or Fournette? Mixon. Cohen or Howard? Give me Cohen. In a PPR, Howard and Standard. Duke Johnson or Chubb? Give Kyle the Chubb. Kenyon Drake or Mike Davis? Neither, but if I had to choose one, I go Mike Davis by a hair. Aaron Rodgers or Phillip Rivers? I'm going Aaron Rodgers, but it's really, really close. Cobb or Godwin? Going Godwin. Baldwin or Davis? I'm going Baldwin. Duke.
Minute 30.
What?
Minute 30.
Oh, okay. We got McCoy or Mixon? I'm going Mixon. Mullins or Dalton? I'm going Dalton. Baldwin or MVS? I'm still going Baldwin by a hair. Breida or Ingram? I'm going Ingram. Breida's held together with old paper mache at this point. Gordon or Tate? I'm going Gordon. Pizza Hut or Papa John's? I'm going to lead towards Papa John's because I like the garlic sauce. Josh Gordon, Larry Fitzgerald, or Nick Chubb? I'm going Chubb. It depends. Chubb and Standard, Gordon and PPR. Howard or Doyle? I was going OJ Howard. Doyle or Cook? Definitely going Jack motherfucking Doyle. We have Duke, Jordan Reed, or Tate? Ugh. Give me Duke. Michelle or Jeffrey? Give me Jeffrey. Somebody's laughing out loud. Congratulations. Awesome. Good to hear. Duke Johnson or Mike Davis? I'm going Duke Johnson. Davis or Mack? I'm going to Mack. Boyd or Woods? Give me Woods. Mack or Duke Johnson? Give me Mack. Doug Baldwin or Mack? A lot of Macks. Nobody knows what to do with Marlon Mack. Letting it flow, let it like. Sure, that sounds great to me. Smith or Bortles? Good Lord, Andrew Nusk. I'm surprised you have to start one of them. If you do, don't start Blake Bortles. Doyle or Kittle? Give me Kittle. Davis or Michelle? Give me Davis. Whew.
And there it is. Whew. That was a solid let it flow.
Man, there was some tough ones in there. And it was going so fast I couldn't even read some of them.
That's perfect, though. That's exactly what I want him to do.
Yes, it's a small helmet. It's a child-sized helmet, Jake.
So real quick, I don't know if it's breaking news or not, but I just got an update on my phone. So it looks like AJ Green, who we've said is going to miss at least 2 games, is now looking like he could potentially be out until December. So again, I just got that update on my phone. AJ Green could actually be out until December now. So if you have him and your trade deadline has not passed, I would highly recommend doing some things to just have a contingency plan in case he doesn't show up until December, because losing him for the next 3 weeks or even possibly longer, that's going to cause issues, especially when we start getting into the fantasy playoffs. So Jake killed it. Lots of thanks out there for Jake. Absolutely. The best segment in fantasy football shows today, especially live shows. Let's see here real quick. Just got over 600 people watching at one time, so numbers are looking good today. 296 likes. Make sure if you haven't hit like yet, you do that for Jake's performance and let it flow. Just want to reset a couple of things here real quick. We'll get right back into your questions in just a moment. Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, Ryan Tannehill are all out this week. Josh McCown getting the start in place of Sam Darnold, and Matt Barkley getting the start in place of Josh Allen, neither of which I'm streaming this week unless I absolutely have to.
You don't have
Sammy
to.
Watkins is out. Randall Cobb is a game-time decision. Robbie Anderson is doubtful. Pierre Garçon is out. Jamison Crowder is out. If you have Maurice Harris or Josh Doxson, I'm going to tell you, Maurice Harris coming off the big week, I'm going Josh Doxson this week. I think Josh Doxson is a must-start. I would actually start him over Maurice Harris. We'll talk about that one and see how that plays out later in the week. Ryan Grant is questionable. Jakeem Grant is questionable. A.J. Green, who we just talked about, Josh Malone are both out. I like John Ross this week. Good matchup for some potential big plays.
What
Give
about
me John Ross?
What about CJ? Who's your mama? Does he get a big boost there from the tight end position?
I think he gets a boost, but he's been really sketchy as of late in terms of us saying, "Oh, big game coming for CJ. Who's your mama?" and it doesn't happen. So,
but if you have Gronk and you need somebody, he's probably available out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Kerryon Johnson is active. I'm not starting him though. Chris Carson, it sounds like he's going to be out now. Sony Michel is active. Gio Bernard is active. Chris Ivory is out. Darren Sproles is out. Chris Thompson is out. Give me all that Adrian Peterson today. Like I said, Ronald Jones is out. Leonard Fournette makes his return today. We'll see how that backfield plays out. David Njoku, questionable, expected to play. Rob Gronkowski, out at this point. So if he is on your team and you need a contingency plan, go grab somebody. Hurry up. Jeff Swaim, also questionable. Let's jump back into some of these questions here real quick. Jacob Nara wants to know T.Y. Hilton or stream Doxson or Amendola. I still have to go T.Y. Hilton this week. We talked about it already on the show. I do think he has a decent week at least. As much as I would love to start Doxson, can't do that right now. Soft you are. Oh, holy cow. My chat was behind because it just jumped, so I have no idea what that was going to be.
Soft UR says AP or Tyler Boyd.
There it is, Tyler Boyd.
Yes, I agree.
As much as I love AP, Tyler Boyd, wide receiver 1.
And who are you calling soft?
Aaron Jones or Cohen? That's a good question. I think with this matchup, though, I have to lean Cohen.
I think, well, it really depends. I mean, let me turn my sign off. It's still blinking. I can't let it flow anymore. Yeah, I think Cohen, but I mean, it really depends if it was standard or PPR. I think it said it was PPR, and I would lean Cohen a little bit there also. Even though it was disappointing last week with his 1 catch. I don't know what happened there.
So we've got some questions coming in on Twitter as well. At Joey Knish wants to know Shepard or Mo Harris in PPR. You love Shepard. Can you pick Mo Harris over him?
Heck no.
Got to go Shepard this week.
Definitely going Shepard. 100% going Shepard.
At MSG2292, must start 1 PPR. Tyrell Williams, Maurice Harris, Traquan Smith, or Quincy Enunwa. In PPR, I'm probably going to go with Maurice Harris.
Probably. Right now, yes. I mean, earlier in the season, it would have been Enunwa, but for right now, yeah, I think Maurice Harris may be the safest option right there.
Yeah, and at Craig Cam 0274 wants to know, it looks like Chris Carson is sitting this week. Since Wash O-line is battered, would you take Mike Davis versus the Rams over an Adrian Peterson versus Tampa Bay? No. There's not a lot of people I'm taking over Adrian Peterson this week. He's he's definitely one of them.
Wow. I'm a little surprised with your AP love. I mean, I know you've had the love for weeks, but you like the last week's injuries to the offensive line. It doesn't scare you at all.
I mean, it's always a worry, but the matchup is there and the volume is there. Alex Smith isn't going to throw the ball 40 times today. It's not going to happen. And as much as I love some of these other options, and I think this is a game that could potentially turn into a high-scoring affair, Adrian Peterson is going to get his today. And if he gets one touchdown, if he gets you 70 to 80 yards, if he gets you 2 to 3 catches for another 20 to 40 yards, he's return value.
So you're saying he's averaging 20 yards of reception?
No.
It's okay, Kyle. I'm just giving you a hard time for your Adrian Peterson love.
That is not what I said, Jake.
Whatever. What about Marvin Jones or MVS for Peter Motherway? You usually say Marvin Jones?
Marvin Jones.
Yes, I agree, 100%. Goff or Fitzmagic?
Gotta check the rankings here real quick.
I mean, I think
I have them decently close.
Yeah, they should be really close, and I would say that Goff may be safer. If you're just looking for the safer, high floor play, I think it's Jared Goff. If you're looking for that big, huge home run, you want to go for the swing for the fences, then you go Fitzmagic.
I got Fitzmagic at 6 and Goff at 9, so going Fitzmagic.
Well, Kyle's going for the home run, swinging for the fences. Dante McCringleberry says AP going to hit it like Grandpa. That's right. What about Wentz or Fitzmagic? Are they a little bit closer there?
They are. They're actually a little bit closer than that. So I have Wentz one spot behind. I have Wentz at 8 and Fitzmagic at 6.
Here's a trade question. What about Michael Thomas? Trade Michael Thomas for Tyreek Hill and Dalvin Cook.
That's going to be team dependent for me. I would rather not trade Michael Thomas, but if you're in a situation where you need another running back, there is a potential for rest of the season, points scored per game, rest of the season, that you just traded Michael Thomas for a wide receiver 1 and a running back 1. There is that potential there. So it depends on what the rest of your team looks like. I don't think that's an awful trade, but I would really need a running back to do it.
Yeah, I mean, and look at Dalvin's schedule. He's got a tough schedule there second half of the season. Just something to pay attention to. It really depends how much you need that running back.
So Joe Camel just asked me what happened to my Michigan State boys. And Joe, it is apparent that I have nothing to do with Michigan State. So nothing happened to my boys, although I watched the game and it was awful.
Yes, I didn't watch the game, but it was probably awful. How about a tight end question? George Kittle or Jack Doyle?
George Kittle.
I agree. George Kittle, I think, has entered that top 3 to 4 area with Gronk being out.
Yep.
Andrew Luck or Baker Mayfield?
Another one where I got to check. I've got Andrew Luck at 11, so I'm going to go Andrew Luck. I've got Mayfield at 14. I do like Mayfield's matchup better, but I got to keep rolling with Andrew Luck. He's done it all season long. Jacksonville's missing a cornerback today, so I'm going with Andrew Luck.
And with AJ Boy, whatever you say his name, being out, it does help. Right now, I had Andrew Luck at 16 in my rankings, and a lot of people were a little upset about it this week. I had Baker at 14, so they're pretty close. I give Baker the slight edge. I think Baker's kind of gotten into that category where he's a safe play every single week. Is he, one of the top quarterbacks in all football? No, not NFL-wise, but fantasy football-wise, he's going to throw it a lot. He's got that high touchdown upside, and I don't mind Baker Mayfield from a weekly basis, especially if you're streaming quarterbacks or something like that. Yeah,
absolutely. Answering a bunch of questions here. Again, we're closing in about quarter till, so we got about 15 more minutes. We're going to get as many questions as possible. 320 likes. Man, it would sure make my Sunday if we hit 400 likes. What about you, Jake?
I mean, yeah, it would definitely make my Sunday almost as good as seeing the name Shifty Shafts pop up here on the screen asking about Cohen or Coleman in a PPR league.
Ooh, Coleman. What, Coleman or Cohen is what you said,
that's right.
Correct?
Don't say it too fast because they sound the same. Cohen or Coleman?
Coleman. Tevin Coleman for me. He's the running back 1 against a Cleveland team that gives up a lot of touchdowns on the ground, but gives up yards and in the passing game as well. we talked about Tevin Coleman on the running back show, too. He was a must-start for me this week.
Perfect. I like Fubar Bill Murray right here. He wants to know about his team name. Rolling with Mahomes or Mahomes got Chubb?
I think either are solid. Any way you want to go.
I mean, I can't pass up the ones to say Mahomes got Chubb. I can't do it.
Ooh, big timers asking about Amari Cooper.
Why?
Amari Cooper or T.Y. Hilton. 0.5 PPR. What do you
T.Y.
think, Jake?
Give me T.Y.
T.Y.? Okay. All right. I think I'll
Hashtag
give...
never Amari Pooper.
I'll give T.Y. Nope, not going to say it. I've got Amari Cooper actually ahead of T.Y. Hilton this week. Amari Cooper facing the Philadelphia Phillies. Philadelphia Phillies, that's football. Philadelphia Eagles. I got too excited. Someone asked an Amari Cooper question, and I lost my train of thought. Got super excited. Philadelphia Eagles giving up 27.86 points, the fourth most points to opposing wide receivers this year. Roll with some Cooper this week, people.
I love the hashtag never Amari Pooper.
Stop it. Stop it. If you're out there putting never Amari, no, you're done. Who did it? Time out.
No,
Time out.
they're not. They're right there with never Funchess, never Crabtree, and I saw one the other day that said never Fun Crab, which is always a good one too. What about Mixon, Jones, Mack, Chubb, or Fournette?
Mixon for sure. If you have to pick one, I'm going with Mixon.
Over Chubb.
Yes.
Over Fournette.
Of course.
Over Mack.
Yes.
Over Aaron Jones.
Yes.
Then then he's the only one left. I just did a process of elimination for you. Joe Mixon is the choice.
Oh, wait. No, I'm sorry. I got myself mixed up there. I've got Chubb ahead of Mixon this week. I forgot Mixon is playing New Orleans. My bad.
See,
Chubb. I've got Chubb just ahead because of the matchup. My bad.
That's why I'm here. That's why I wanted to clarify, because to me, I think Nick Chubb is also a great option. I actually had Joe Mixon as a sit this week, and I got some hate for it.
I've got Chubb at 8. I've got Mixon at 11.
Still a little high for me, but, it's all right.
I'm so excited about that Cooper question.
It's all right, Cosmo. He said he's a little bit late, but better late than never. Should you roster Josh Adams, Murdoch 72605? If you're in a deeper league or you have just an open bench spot that's being vacated by absolutely garbage, like Amari Pooper, then yeah, Josh Adams is somebody who you can pay attention to here rest of season. Is not going to be somebody I start this week. And I was completely joking. Even if I just said it, don't drop Amari Cooper for Josh Adams. I'm not stupid, but it's close. It's close.
Yeah, like you just said, if you have a deep roster, if you have a lot of bench spots, absolutely. I think he's worth a stash. Jordan Gutierrez wants to know standard pick 2, David Johnson, Nick Chubb, James White. David Johnson, Nick Chubb, for sure for me.
What about Larry Fitzgerald or Jalen Richard?
Larry Fitzgerald.
Thank you. I was like, if you're thinking about it, I'm going to smack you through the screen. I don't want anything to do with anybody Raiders. Completely honest. At any given week, they can just their give a damn is completely busted. They don't care. They're not out there trying to win. They're in full tank mode already. I don't want anybody on that roster in my lineup unless I absolutely have to.
Aaron Stanley says he just picked up Peyton Barber. Does he start him over Kerryon Johnson? Yeah, I actually would. I would start Peyton Barber over Kerryon Johnson this week.
Man, I don't even know if my mouth can say those words.
Yeah.
But I mean, it makes more sense, but I don't know if I can say it. Njoku
Dante McCringleberry out there, please, is what he says. Pick one: Zeke, Ingram, Jones, Fournette, Mack. Zeke for me.
Yep, you can't sit Zeke. You can't do it. As much as he's been disappointing at times, he's still a top 12 running back right now in PPR leagues. He's still scoring points. He's just not scoring big Zeke points. What about Keenan Allen or Tyler Boyd for Kyle Phillips?
You gotta go with Keenan Allen.
Yep, can't sit Keenan Allen. 100% agree. David Njoku or CJ Uzurmama?
Njoku.
Exactly.
Even with the injury and being questionable, I'm still going with Njoku.
Yeah, exactly. Should I drop AJ Green for Doug Baldwin?
Ooh. I really don't want to drop AJ Green. You don't have any IR spots that you can use in your league?
Even if you don't have an IR spot, there has to be somebody on your roster worse than AJ Green. Even if he does sit out for the next 3 or 4 weeks, I would definitely pick up Baldwin if I could, but I wouldn't drop AJ Green to do it.
Who was that? Who asked that question?
I don't know. That was like 1,000 questions ago.
All right. So if you're the one that just asked the question, hit me up on Twitter at krich1532. My DMs are open. Send me a message with your roster. We'll talk about that one a little bit more in depth. I don't want you dropping AJ Green, but I need to see your roster before I can make that call. So DM me on Twitter and we'll talk about it.
Well,
if you don't have Twitter, just make one up.
Yeah, just put a fake name in there. Make it a burner account. What about Kerryon Johnson or Ito Smith?
Man, I can't start Ito Smith over Kerryon Johnson.
Okay, good. I mean, I know we love Kerryon Johnson. It's just more of a we don't want to this week type of thing. But yeah, I still have to go him right there.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So Jordan Windsor wants to know if emojis really help with the potential for my question to get answered. Possibly. It depends. You never know.
Not for me. Food usually gets my attention, but I mean, so many people caught on to that so early that I get so many pizzas and popcorns and everything all day long. I've kind of become numb.
Well, in a half PPR, Jordan Windsor wants to know Mike Davis, Duke Johnson, or Christian Kirk. I feel like I'm leaning Duke this week.
Yeah, I'd say I have to give me some Duke's mayonnaise right there.
It'd be between Duke and Christian Kirk, and I'm going to go with Duke.
Yeah. What about Honey Bunches of Oats? Never mind. I can't finish the question. Jack wants to know if he should go with Honey Bunches of Oats or the guys that always mess up his coffee orders. I would actually go with the guys who mess up the coffee orders because at least they're giving you coffee, and coffee is amazing. Funches doesn't give you anything but headaches. That was funny. I should have read the whole question before I started it, but it happens. Never funch me again. Okay, it's a great hashtag. I love that one. I saw this one here. Let me stop this one. Must win week. This is for Praise K9. Pick 3: Dion Lewis, Leonard Fournette, Joe Mixon, and Aaron Jones.
Mixon, Aaron Jones, and
Dion Lewis. Exactly. That's what I would say also. I don't want to start Fournette this week unless I absolutely had no other choice.
Johnny Carreria says, hurry! Lots of exclamation points. Ingram or Michelle in standard?
Ingram.
I don't want to say it, but I have to.
Why?
What?
Oh, you don't want to say Ingram?
No, I don't want to say Ingram.
Everybody should want to say Ingram. What about some pizza that says flex PPR, Cohen or Mac?
Cohen or Mac, flex PPR. Man, I like that Mac, or I like that Cohen matchup this week. Let me see where I've got Mac at real quick. Hold on.
Steak or savory tofu?
I've got
steak.
What was it? Was it PPR or standard?
I have no idea, Kyle. I'm pretty sure it was PPR.
If it's PPR, then 100% Cohen.
Stephen Bouchon says we never answer his questions. Well,
that's what I was getting ready to say. Look at that, on the same wavelength.
It's because he thinks that we're like out to get him. But Stephen, we have no idea. I mean, have you seen the chat? I would bet my paycheck that there's been thousands of questions here, and I don't get much of a paycheck. However, we don't do it on purpose. There's thousands. So because it caught my attention, I'm just going to skip by and move on. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. Maurice Harris, Adam Humphries, Josh Doxson, Chris Godwin, or Jalen Richard. Pick one. Harris, Humphries, Doxson, Godwin, Richard.
Doxson.
Ugh. It is half-point PPR.
Doxson.
I can't agree with you.
Out of all of those players, I think Doxson has the highest touchdown upside this week. He has the best matchup this week. Jalen Richard.
I agree with no Richard, but what about Maurice Harris in some type of a PPR league? Could be somebody who gets 7 to 10 receptions again.
I think I don't mind Maurice Harris, but I don't think he does what he did last week. I think Josh Doxson is the guy with the highest touchdown upside. It's only half-point PPR, and I already said on the show once that I would go Doxson over Harris this week.
All right, and then what about Wilson or Mitch Magic?
Hold on. Where do I have Mitch Magic at?
He better be pretty high.
I'm not sure about. Wilson.
There you go. That one moved too fast. Coleman or Mixon? You sticking with Mixon?
I have Coleman higher than Mixon.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yep.
Actually showing Tevin Coleman some love. What about a defensive question? The Redskins, the Bills, or the Colts?
You said Redskins, Bills, or Colts?
Yes. So you have the Redskins against Tampa Bay. I'm going to say no.
No, not the Redskins.
The Bills at the Jets. That's a possibility.
I've got
Oh, the Colts in Jacksonville.
the Colts at 11, but I've got the Bills. Where are they? Oh, there they are. Colts or Bills. Sorry, Bills.
Yeah, I take the Bills there. Even though I like Josh McCown, it's going to be his first action of the year in an offense that struggles at times. So, yeah, I'm going to agree and go the Bills. Plus, their defense is playing pretty good. All right, let's see here. What about Anunwa or John Ross? That's a good, deep question.
Enunwa facing a tough Bills secondary, so I'm going John Ross.
All right. Yep, I agree with you there. All right, Kyle, you want to do one more?
One more what? Just one more question? Sure. Why not?
It's 12:56. It's almost kickoff, Kyle.
Oh, that's soon. Now it's 12:57. I got to go through Kyle's Crushers, too.
Oh, then hurry up. Go with it now.
Okay, real quick. Kyle's Crushers. Again,
faster.
Guys that I think will be outperforming the expert consensus ranking this week. At quarterback, give me Alex Smith. Expert consensus ranking has him at QB 17. Tampa Bay giving up the most points to opposing quarterbacks this year. Running back, David Johnson. ECR is running back 10. KC is giving up the most points to running backs this year. I think they control the game with David Johnson. Also at running back, Adrian Peterson. ECR has him at RB 20. Tampa Bay giving up the 6th most points allowed to running backs. I'm seeing a big week for Adrian Peterson still. Wide receivers, I have 3. Josh Doctson is ECR 53. John Ross is ECR 54. And Amari Cooper is wide receiver 30 in ECR. All of those guys, I expect them to outperform. Doxson's getting a Tampa Bay secondary, 2nd most points allowed to wide receivers. John Ross is giving a New Orleans secondary that has allowed the most points to wide receivers. No Josh Malone, no A.J. Green. Amari Cooper getting the Eagles secondary, 5th most points allowed to wide receivers. Looked pretty good last week in his debut with the Cowboys, going with him. Jordan Reed at tight end 10 for the ECR. I think he finishes higher than that. Tampa Bay 2nd most points allowed to tight end. So those are my Kyle's Crushers this week. Again, guys that will outperform their ECR: Alex Smith, David Johnson, Adrian Peterson, Josh Doctson, John Ross, Amari Cooper, and Jordan Reed. Okay.
Whew, you flew through that.
Let's get a couple more questions.
Okay, hang on. Let me pull it back up. I didn't think you were going to go through so fast. What about
Mac or Eckler in flex standard? I'm going with Mac.
Yes.
Galladay, Harris, or Ben Watson, standard and flex. Got to go with Galladay. Billy Blade says Doctson is a bust. Overall, yes, I agree with you, but not this week. Howard, Jones, or Drake, pick 2 full PPR. I'm going with Jones and Drake in full PPR.
What about David Johnson, Leonard Fournette, or Joe Mixon?
David Johnson.
Yep, by a hair. Dion Lewis or Robert Woods in a standard league?
Robert Woods.
Okay. There's a lot of cheeseburgers to get through on this one. Opponent has Devontae Adams and Keenan Allen. I have Rivers and Rodgers. Who the funch do I start?
He has who and Rodgers?
He has Rivers and Rodgers, and his opponent has both of their number ones, Adams
Rodgers.
and I mean, I stick with Aaron Rodgers also, even though Rivers may be safer. Rodgers hasn't had a bad year by any means. Go look at the numbers. He's had a decent year. He just hasn't had an Aaron Rodgers style year. He's had like a normal, like he's had like a Phillip Rivers year. You know what I mean? He's just having a cool, consistent season. It's just not crazy like we've expected in the past.
True Blue wants to know Tate or Gordon. I'm going, if that's Josh Gordon, going with Josh Gordon.
100% agree.
All right. And I think that finishes it for today. It is 1 p.m. Lineups are locked. RotoBaller Game Day live for Week 10 is wrapped up. If you're still watching right now, thanks so much for joining in. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. Like the video. We always appreciate that. Hopefully we answered enough questions for you today. I think we're going to have to expand this thing at some point in the future. Who knows? We'll see. So many questions to get through in 1 hour. Jake is looking at me like I'm crazy because I've never talked to him about that before. I'm just throwing things out.
Yeah, I mean, Jake doesn't sleep as it is, so yeah, let's go ahead and extend the show.
Yes. So make sure you scroll down below. Please follow Jake and myself on Twitter. Our links are right down there. You can scroll down and hit those. Giving away a signed Alvin Kamara jersey still. Giving that away on the 22nd. A few more days. Head over to my Twitter handle. You can follow all the steps for that. Make sure you subscribe to Jake's YouTube channel as well, the Fantasy Headliners. Both of us dropping content on both. Well, he's dropping content on his channel. We are both dropping content here. So make sure you follow along. Check out the videos. We'll be doing waiver wire videos, running back and wide receivers, the Fantasy Bomb podcast with Chris and Pierre, do tight ends and quarterbacks. So a lot of great content will be coming up next week. So follow along if you're not doing that already. Good luck in Week 10. Best wishes to everybody. Jake, say goodbye to the people.
Bye, people. Have a good week. We'll see you
Have a
next
great week, everybody.
Later.
We will see you again right here next Sunday from 12 to 1 for RotoBaller Game Day Live. Have a great week, and we will check you out then.